News in Focus. Today, the resignation of Massachusetts Lieutenant Governor Tim Murray. Here's Laura Hutchinson.
Good Sunday afternoon and welcome to 22 News in Focus. I'm Laura Hutchinson. Lieutenant Governor Timothy Murray announced last week he'd be resigning from the administration on June 2nd. He accepted a job with the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce that he'll start on June 3rd. Many people are wondering what factors he considered when making that decision and what this means for our state. So that's where 22 News in Focus comes in. Today we'll talk with the Lieutenant Governor about his decision and his new job. We'll also take a look back at his time in office and talk about what he's proud of and what he may have done differently. Then during the second half of our program, we'll talk to two state lawmakers about Murray's decision to leave and the future of our state and current legislation they're working on now that will affect us here in Western Massachusetts. But first, joining us back on the program today, we have Lieutenant Governor Tim Murray joining us. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, it's great to be back.
It.
Yes.
Well, you are the new president and CEO of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce. Congratulations. Talk to us about it. Was this just the perfect job for you?
Well, yeah, in many respects, it's a perfect fit. Back in January, I announced that I wasn't going to be running for governor or higher office, and quite frankly, was not looking for a job with the intention of kind of serving through till January of 2015 when our term ends. But last year, the current president and CEO of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce announced that he would be resigning. And the executive committee of the board had started a search. They reached out to me. Initially I told them I wasn't interested because I didn't think the timing was good. But the more I thought about it, the more they persisted, and we talked. In many ways, it was a perfect fit on the work that I'd done as lieutenant governor, as a mayor, and Worcester as a city councilor. And it was a position that wasn't going to be there in January of 2015. And quite frankly, with an 8- and 6-year-old, 2 daughters, you know, it just made a lot of sense. And so I made a decision. It was a hard one, and it's bittersweet. I'm excited about the job, but I also going to miss the work that I've been a part of.
Many people were surprised that you didn't want to run for governor just because you've been there for so long. You were almost kind of, you know, it would make sense. So why did you rule that out?
Well, when I made the announcement back in January, it was, you know, a family-based decision, quite frankly. And as I said to my reporters, to my supporters and to reporters after I sent out a letter to my supporters, it was the 2010 re-election campaign was a difficult one, and with a 6- and 5-year-old at the time, my wife works full-time. I was out of the house 5, 6, 7 days a week, 15 hours a day, just, you know, crisscrossing the state, and that takes a toll. And I knew that a run for governor, with the money, unfortunately, that you need to raise, the time commitment, that ostensibly I would have had to start that campaign for governor this past February all the way through till November of 2014, and that's what it takes. I just, after 15 years and where my family's at, it wasn't the right time.
Are you looking forward to being in the private sector? I mean, this is going to be kind of a lifestyle change a little bit, right? Well,
you know, not really, in the sense that I was a law partner in a small law practice for 12 years, so I understand many of the challenges that small businesses face. I know what it's like to sign the front of the check, not just the back of the check, payroll, health insurance, unemployment, you know, workers' comp, all of those types of things. So I've been in the private sector and know how hard people work, and I tend to work hard for the membership.
What was that conversation like when you talked to the governor, letting him know of your plans?
Well, first, you know, I told him that this was one position that I actually had, you know, was going to maybe explore after they persisted a little bit and I thought about it. And, you know, he was just, I think he knew it was a good fit in many ways and consistent with the work that I've been involved with for 15 years. But he also said there's going to be a big hole in the administration in terms of some of the duties and responsibilities that are in my portfolio. But he understood why it made sense, and has been supportive, though, you know, he kids me that he wish it wasn't happening. But
yeah. You know, what about leaving the term early? You know, you do have a lot of supporters out there, and of course, when you're elected, it's anticipated that you'll stay the full term that you are elected to. Did that play into this at all? Did you?
No, that's a consideration that's you know, that's weighed on me and I've thought about. But again, you know, my family's taken a back seat for a long time. And my daughters are coming of the age where they're increasingly active, and I want to be a part of their lives more than I have been. And so that is ultimately a major factor why I made this decision, and that this is a unique job. Leading the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce, I worked there in high school in the mailroom. I know the great potential that it has in terms of marketing and growing business, bringing in private sector investment. Central Massachusetts has got lots of assets, and if it was plopped down in any part of the country, any other part of the country, it would have a national, even an international reputation in the sense, but we're competing with Boston, and so I think there's an opportunity to take it to the next level, and I'm excited about it. But you know, it wasn't an easy decision.
Do you have any concerns about there being any major changes with you out? You know, having you not there, not overseeing Governor's Council, you did work, you know, and who's going to do that? Massachusetts really doesn't have a process to replace the Lieutenant Governor. So do you have any concerns about how this may impact the state?
Yeah, I know. You know, Jay Kaufman, a state representative, has filed a bill whereby the governor could appoint someone, you know, to serve out, and I think that's a good bill. Other states have done that. But in this particular instance, a number of the interagency councils that I've chaired, we've designated people to take over for that. Cabinet secretaries in some cases. Congressman Joe Kennedy is going to lead our efforts around STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So, you know, we've got a lot done in each one of those areas. There's still some items on the punch list, but I'm confident that we've got enough momentum in many of those areas that these things will still happen. And, you know, I will be cheering and pushing from the outside. Yeah.
Overall, we'll get into specifics in a little bit, but overall, how do you feel about your term in office? Do you feel like this was
I do. I mean, I think when I look back, and I would encourage, you know, anyone, if they're interested, in the substantive areas, the areas that were in my portfolio, there's a number of substantive accomplishments, whether it be on reestablishing relationships with cities and towns, whether it be issues on transportation, in particular rail, whether it be on housing and homelessness issues, whether it be on domestic violence or substance abuse. On all of these issues, we've got a lot done.
What was the number one, what was something that as you campaigned that first time around, you were like, this is definitely something that I want to get accomplished? Do you feel that those were fulfilled? What were some of those big goals that you had?
Well, a cornerstone issue, and one of the reasons why I ran, was that, you know, municipal leaders, mayors, town administrators, didn't have a voice or didn't have access to the corner office. And I ran because I felt it was critically important that there be a partnership between the executive branch and local government. And if you talk to local officials across Massachusetts now, they've never had better access, they've never had a better relationship, they've got more tools in the toolbox to do their jobs. We've worked with the legislature to pass the Municipal Partnership Act 1, Municipal Partnership Act 2, health insurance reform, pension reform. These are Chapter 90 funding, infrastructure funding, economic development funding for cities and towns. So whether it's a small rural town or a big city, they have true partners in the corner office, and that was a guiding principle of how we've done our work, and that was, you know, really the cornerstone why I ran, being a former mayor of Worcester and a city councilor.
Okay, Lieutenant Governor Tim Murray, we are going to take a look back at your time in office after this, so stay with us, everyone. You're watching 22 News in Focus.